You have 10 seconds to absolutely bomb your job interview. How do you do it? Accidentally insult the interviewer's profession. I'm so glad this position is for IT and not something worthless like HR. Someone I know was doing an interview for a scholarship, majoring in electrical engineering. At some point during the interview he was asked what he would do if he didn't work out, and he responded by saying that he would fall back to something easier like mechanical engineering. His interviewer was a mechanical engineer. Instead of a handshake, go in for an open mouth kiss. To assert dominance. Of course. In an interview for a hospital, if they ask a medical-related question, start singing, humming the hip bones connected to the thigh bone frantically. In an interview for an accounting firm, imply that a chimpanzee with a calculator could do the job, so you're perfectly qualified. Ask how firm the harassment policy is. Ask the interviewer if he's cool when asked to do a drug test, and imply that you need some clean urine and are willing to pay. To be said to interviewer, "Sweetie, can you grab me a coffee pronto? I can do it in 1 second. Nice tits." This works on offending both women and men. Always wanted to do this. Take off your shoe and sock, and start clipping your toenails. Sorry if my nose bleeds. I just did a line that was bigger than it looked. Sit on the interviewer, don't ask. Sit on his lap and end off every answer with, "Daddy." I'd shake your hand but I wouldn't want you to catch it. Do not elaborate. Grab the interviewer's coffee cup and take a drink. Repeat everything they say in a mocking tone. Is this a picture of your daughter? Can I keep it? Answer the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? By answering, I'll be too valuable to this organization for them to waste my time on recruiting the new employees. Does this place have cameras? If so, how many and where? Finally, one I can answer. Asian parents made me do an interview for some job I didn't want. So I just showed up and started having lunch in the room. Lasted about 5 seconds before being asked to leave. Edit. I did not get the job. I also lost my parents doing this. So win-win. Loud blasting from your pocketed phone speaker. Act like you can't hear it. Insist that you can't hear anything. Can you do crack in the break room? Forget your own age. It's how I bombed my first one. I had just turned 18. For some reason my dumb ass said 16. Number 18. I could tell they didn't believe anything I said after that. I forgot to check. Is this building within 500 feet of a school? Tell them I'll only work for the double the pay at half the hours. Win-win situation. You either bomb the interview or get great pay and half the hours of everyone else. Worked at a job where a guy started in the same position as me just a month earlier. Really low on the totem pole type position. This guy f***ed the dog a lot. Got nothing done. Pretty sure he was also selling drugs on the side. Then after a few months, he asks my supervisor if he could have an assistant. She was floored. She says I don't even have an assistant. And he was like, "Sir, is that a no?" Funny thing was, she was trying to decide if she should fire this After that, she started to get the ball rolling on that. She had to get it approved by the manager, and I think the owner, and they had to discuss about finding a replacement. While that was going on, he put in his 2 weeks and found another job doing the same thing. So do you guys drug test? Not actually disqualifying. I actually still got a job after I mentioned that. Despite the paperwork, I wouldn't be taking a drug test or background test as it was too time-consuming for them. Most businesses don't actually do either as it costs them money. Bluffing is usually good enough to deter all the undesirable applicants. Walk in shaking and scratching my face. Immediately ask if they pay in cash. So you can go get some skincare quickly. I like competing company better but they wouldn't hire me. Do you at least pay well? Scream. Answer all of the questions perfectly. Shake their hands firmly. Reiterate your interest in the job, and just throw back your head and scream. The loudest, highest scream of your life. After you have completed this, clear your throat loudly. Then you really have to go in for the reach across the table and shake their hand once more, smiling as if nothing happened. Tell them to have a nice day knowing that you have called into question all aspects of their life. Will my boss be female? I don't particularly care to have a woman telling me what to do. Yeah, can I speak to the man in charge? Sweetie, do you mind if I'm while we do this? Show up. I want to work for you because it will give me the chance to meet heaps of new people and introduce them to the wonders of essential oils and the horrors of vaccines. Step 1. Furry suit. Step 2. Stains. Step 3. Insist on a hug instead of a handshake. Regardless of their race, refer to the interviewer as the N-word as much as possible. I didn't know ugly people worked here, but good for you for getting a managerial position. On a scale from 1 to 10, how hot is your daughter? Newly single, not looking for anything serious, but I absolutely cannot date any uglies. If she looks like you, though, I'm not interested. Wait for an important question to start being asked and, in the middle of the interviewer's sentence, hold up a finger as an indication that the interview should pause his sentence. Lift up one cheek from the chair and let out the juiciest, rankest fart of all time while maintaining eye contact with the interviewer and then say, I finished your sentence for you. Hi, I am 52 years old. Just so you know, I like 3 people last year, but don't worry, it was for this cult thing in Mexico and that's in the past now. Tell them my goal is to replace them. Propose. I worked as an independently contracted distributor of high-quality recreational products. What company? Sinaloa Cartel. On the floor. Or if I'm trying to impress them, helicopter while Now, I don't think we should drag politics into this, and I don't really agree with everything said, but lock eyes and let out a squeaky, muffled 9.5-second fart. Interviewer, what are your hobbies outside of work? Me, furry. Me, flips table or chair if there isn't one, alright. First question, how long have you worked here? Interviewer, sir, this is an interview. Me, yeah, I'm not stupid. I'm interviewing you to see if you're good enough to join my insert MLM here team. I banged a chick last night. And you've got a pretty nice picture of her on your desk. Extra points if grandmother. Say I hate your company and everything it stands for. Welcome to Wheelchairs Incorporated. You. Your company. I slashed your tires, you pretentious hack. All while unplugging and sticking the computer monitor under your arm. I just had an interview in Wednesday that I was a disaster at. I was still am pregnant and started crying from hormones and nerves. Less than 10 seconds. But I think it did the trick. I can't pass a drug test, is that okay? All it takes is 7 words. Do you know who my father is? I can projectile vomit at will. Either say that, or demonstrate it without prompting. Show them my CV and years of absolutely nothing and tell them about my social anxiety. That or ask if they've ever had with a donkey. Both sound about equal. What are your hobbies? Tax fraud, arson and careful, they might make you a manager. Just based on interviews I've conducted. Show up in filthy clothes. Smell terrible. Make racist or sexist jokes. Show up late and not give a Swear during the interview. Answer all or most of our questions with unrelated anecdotes about your kids and how all of the skills we ask about came to you because you're a parent. Getting only makes you an authority on creating and delivering a child. It doesn't actually teach you everything about fixing a laptop or filling a prescription or whatever. Admit you lied on the resume application or had someone else do it for you. These were not all the same candidate, though several are from the same person. I was floored that they actually gave him a chance. Took a day and a half for him to be walked out. Does your workplace weapons policy include full auto? Either you bomb the interview or find yourself in a very interesting job environment. I just saw 2 hotties while walking over to the interview room. Would you say such fine specimens are often encountered around here? fart and say, "Got more where that came from," and then wink suggestively. Tell me about a time you disagreed with a coworker, and how did you resolve it? Well, Sally would always complain about my ideas and was in a bad mood. I think she was on her period, so I just bought some ice cream and let the red tide rain in. Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, Kevin Spacey and Bill Cosby are my biggest examples when it comes to workspace social interaction. What's your biggest flaw? My honesty. I don't think that's a flaw. I don't give a what you think. True story. Off topic but somewhat related. I went into interview for a sales job in the technology field. The hiring manager said, "You have 5 minutes to piss me off." I wasn't sure if he was implying that my interview will suck, or to literally piss him off. I stood up, extended my arm and put it at the end of his desk. I looked him square in the eye and moved my arm from one end to the other, knocking over keyboards and family photos and jars of shit. He simply said, "You're hired and get the out of my office." This was about 15 years ago and I still work here. For real though, saying you have no idea what the company does is a definite sorry, the position has been filled. Simple. When they extend their hand for you to shake, make a disgusted face and only grasp the tip of their finger. Proceed to shake weakly.